Okay, hello everyone, welcome to another video on graph theory. Today in this video we are going to start a module called the extremal graph theory. Alright, and I hope this would be the final video in your course, and we are going to look at two theorem in this video. One is Turan's theorem, the other is Ramsey's number, and finally this module has one more theorem, a lemma called Shima-Reddy's regularity lemma that would be covered through your assignment. Alright, so apart from that we have two topics in this module. These are Turan's theorem and Ramsey's number. We will be covering these two. We will be trying to understand what these things are in this video, and I hope this would be the last video in your course. Alright, so let us begin by talking first about what it means when we say extremal graph theory. So extremal graph theory is the branch of graph theory that studies this extremal, maximum, minimum values of graphs that satisfy certain condition. Okay, so what does this mean? By looking at these global parameters, for example, number of nodes, number of edges. All right, so looking at these global parameters, we will be trying to we will ask question so that certain local conditions are satisfied. What I mean, this may look like a very tough explanation, tough statement, okay, but it is actually very easy. Okay, so an example in extremal graph theory might be this. Which acyclic graph on n vertices have the maximum number of edges? So another variant of this question might be, given a graph with n number of vertices, okay, what is the maximum number of edges that we can have so that there is no cycle in this graph? Okay, so the answer would be n minus 1 edges. Okay, so this is the question in extremal graph theory. The answer is n minus 1 edges because a tree has n minus 1 edges. So if there are n vertices, a tree will have n minus 1 edges. So if we add one more edge to this tree, okay, then we will have a cycle. Okay, a tree is connected, adding one more edge will introduce a cycle. So we have this graph, a tree. So the answer to this question, which acyclic graph on n vertices have the maximum number of edges? The maximum number of edges, so that we do not have a cycle, will be given by a tree. For n vertices, the maximum number of edges is n minus 1. So yeah, simple. This is a question in this thing, extremal graph theory. Alright, so with that, let us look at a few other questions that we might have, and when doing so we will be looking at a few theorem and a few graphs. Alright, so let us look at the first graph. Okay, before we go and look at the first graph, okay, this will be Turan's graph. Denoted by T and R. Okay, we will talk about what this means, but before this, let us look at R-partite graph. Okay, so you know what is bipartite graph. In bipartite graph, we have two sets of vertices. Okay, and edges are between these two sets. Alright, there are no edges that is between two nodes in the same set. So I hope you know by now very properly what bipartite graph means. Okay, so in R-partite graph, what is going to happen is we are going to have r number of sets. Okay, so we have 1 up to r different sets, and the edges will be, say, okay, the edges will be between different sets. There will be no edges between nodes in the same set. Okay, this is a R-parted graph. Let me draw a three-parted graph for better clarity. Let me draw a small three-parted graph. Okay. Say I have two edges in this set. I have two edges in this set, and I have one edge in this set. Okay. So my say I have edges like this, and I have edges like this. Okay. This is an example of a R-parted graph. Here R is equal to 3. This is a three-parted graph. Okay, like bipartite graph, but with three sets. Okay, in bipartite graph we would not have an edge like this. Okay, two nodes that are in the same edge will same set will not have an edge that among them. Okay, similarly in R-parted graph also we will not have edges like this. Okay, so belonging to one set, if I have different nodes, these nodes will not have edges among them. So this is a three-partite graph. Alright, but this is not complete. Why? I can see this, there is edge between this and this, but then there is no edge between this and this. So let me introduce these edges. Okay, and there is no edge between this and this. So let me introduce these edges as well. So now my graph is complete. Between any two vertices, I have edges, and provided these vertices are in different sets, and between members of the nodes that are in the same set, I do not have any edge. Okay, so between any two different sets, you take any vertices, there will be edge between them. Alright, so this is a complete three-partite graph. Alright. Okay. Okay. Now let us talk about Turan's graph. A Turan's graph is a complete R-parted graph with this one condition, that the difference between elements, number of elements in different sets is at most 1. Okay, and number of elements in each set is equal to either this n by r, means when you divide n by r, the ceiling of this or the floor of this. Okay, so let us talk about this with an example. Let us say I have 12 nodes. Okay, this is the number of vertices. When I write Turan's graph in this format, this is the number of vertices, this is the number of sets. Alright, so let us draw the Turan's graph with 12 vertices and 3 sets. Okay, so what will happen? My number of elements in per set will be either 12 by 4 ceiling or 12 by 4 floor. Okay, so both of these are equal to 3. Alright, so what will happen is that I will have, this should be 3. Okay, n by r, I have taken r equal to 3. So both of these are equal to 4. Okay, fine. So I will have 3 sets. And each of the set is going to have 4 elements. And this graph is going to be complete. In the sense, I will have edges like this, and I will have edges like this. Okay, and this is going to be true for all the edges or all the vertices between different sets. Alright, so this is what is going to happen. I am not going to draw the entire complete graph because it is going to be too cluttered. Okay, or let me do one thing, let me draw as a matter of fact. I am not going to draw this, I am going to draw this. Okay, what is this going to do? I have 12 vertices and I have 4 sets. So let me draw this 4. This is set 1, this is set 2, this is set 3, and this is set 4. Okay, what is going to happen from here? I am going to have these edges, okay, these edges. Fine. From the next one, I am going to have this, and this, and from this as well I am going to have this, and this. Alright, now from here I am connected to all this, so I have to connect to this, and this. From this as well I will connect to this, and this, and from this as well I will connect to this, and this. Alright, now I have to connect to all the elements in this set. Alright, so this is the reason I did not want to draw. I have drawn from here to here all the 3. From here also I have to draw to all this. Okay, so from each of these vertices I have 3 edges going to these 3 elements, 3 edges going to these 3 elements, and 3 edges going to these 3 elements. Alright, so each of the vertex, wherever you take, will have how many? 3 plus 3 plus 3, 9 edges. Alright, so this also will have 9 edges, so 3 going to this 3, 3 going to this 3, and 3 going to this 3. So this is my set A, B, C, and D set. Okay, so this is a 2-runs graph. 2-runs graph with 12 vertices in total, which are divided into 4 sets. Alright, and this is complete in the sense that I have from each of my vertices, I will have connections to all the vertices in all the other sets, except I will not have edges connecting to the vertices in my own set. Okay, like in a bipartite graph, so this is a bipartite graph. So bipartite graph works in 2 sets, this work in more than 2 sets. Alright, so yeah, this is a 2-runs graph. So yeah, this is simple. Okay, not too complex. Let us talk about some other number. Let us talk about 13. Okay, now what will happen? I will have, like before, I will have 4 sets. Okay, so what is 13 by 4? Ceiling is 4. Okay, what is 13 by 4? Floor is 3. Floor is equal to 3. Alright, so what is going to happen? See, let me divide up the number of nodes equally. Okay, so that is my aim. First 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. and one more vertices is remaining. So let me put it here. Without loss of generality, I could have put it anywhere else. I could have put it here. So what is it that I am seeing? I am seeing that the number of vertices in each of the set is either 3 or 4. Okay. So yeah, this is what I have. This is Turan's graph. So in Turan's graph, what is going to happen? It is a R-parted graph. It is a complete R-parted graph. Okay, where the number of elements will be distributed equally, and so I will try to distribute equally. Okay, so if by n is perfectly divisible by r, okay, then equality will be guaranteed. So I can distribute equally. But if it is not perfectly divisible, like in this case, okay, I have n number of vertices, r is 4, so 13 is not perfectly divisible by 4. So in this case, what is going to happen? By pigeonhole principle, I know my number of vertices in each set is going to be the ceiling of n by r or the floor of n by r. Okay, so Turan's graph is denoted by n and r, where n is the number of vertices and r is the number of sets. Alright, so yeah, you know what is Turan's graph. Now Turan's theorem. Okay, so before I talk about Turan's theorem, let me talk about something. Let me talk about Kn free graph. Okay. So a Kn free graph or a some x free graph means what? This x is not a subset. It's not a subgraph of that graph. Okay, so let me draw a graph. So I have drawn this graph. Okay, this is not a K4 free graph. Okay, this is not a K4 free graph. Why is it not a K4 free graph? Because K4 is in this graph. This part is a subgraph of the graph. Okay, this is K4. So this is definitely not K4 free graph. What if I remove this? Now I can see that K4 is not a subgraph of this graph. So this is a K4 free graph. Alright. Is this a triangle free graph? Triangle means K3. Is this a K3 free graph? No. So this is K3. This is K3. I have this is K3. So there are 3 triangles in this graph. So this is not triangle free graph. Okay. Now about Turan's graph, let me make another observation. So I have this Turan graph T and R. Is it K R plus 1 free? So my question is, K R plus 1 is this complete graph with R plus 1 vertices. Can it be a subgraph of the Turan's graph with n vertices and R sets? Let us think about this. So I will have R number of sets. Alright. So I have R number of sets. Now I can take one vertex from here, one vertex from this set here, and one vertex from here. So how many I have taken? This is my set 1, 2, this is my R. So I have taken R number of vertices. Alright. So if all of these are connected, all of these vertices that I have taken are connected, then what am I going to get? I am going to get a KR. Okay, provided all these vertices that I have taken are connected, and these are going to be connected because this is a subgraph of Turan's graph. Okay, so all these vertices that I have taken are connected. I have taken how many vertices? I have taken R vertices. Now I am asking if kr plus 1 is available. So the next vertex that I am going to take is going to be from one of these sets. Okay. So without loss of generality, let us assume that there is this ith set. I had taken some one vertex. Now I am taking another vertex from this ith set. Okay. So how many vertices I have taken now? I have taken r plus 1 vertices. Okay. Now there is this one problem. Kr plus 1 is what? Kr plus 1 is the complete graph with r plus 1 vertices. Alright. So we have this problem. When I take r plus 1 different vertices out of this Turan's graph, these two vertices is not going to have an edge between them, because this is r part A. In this set there is not going to be any edges between them, so these two vertices are not going to have an edge between them. Alright, so what do I know? That this Turan graph is kr plus 1 free, because kr plus 1 cannot be a subgraph of this graph. Okay, so if I take r plus 1 vertices, there is at least going to be two vertices that are not going to be connected, so this graph is not going to be complete. Okay, so we know this graph is kr plus 1 free. Okay. So Turan's theorem tells us among n vertex simple graphs with no kr plus 1, okay, t n r, this Turan's graph with n number of vertices and r number of sets. This is also denoted as t subset n r. Okay, so same thing, t n r has maximum number of edges. Okay, so among n vertex simple graph with no kr plus 1, t n r has maximum number of edges. So this is what Turan's theorem tells us. Okay, so very simple to understand that I have this graph with n vertices and I have to guarantee that kr plus 1 is not a subset of this graph. So if I have this Turan's graph with n vertices and r sets, it is guaranteed that kr plus 1 is not a subgraph of this graph, right? So we already discussed this. Now Turan's theorem says that among any graph with n vertex, okay, this graph t n r has the maximum number of edges. Okay, provided the graph does not have kr plus 1. So if the graph has a r plus 1, we may have what? I may have kn. Kn is going to have the maximum number of edges. Okay, so kn is going to have the maximum number of edges. R is smaller than k. We know r is smaller than k because n number of vertices can be partitioned into r sets. Okay, if I have number of vertices less than the number of sets, that is going to introduce some problem. Okay, some of the sets are going to be empty, but that is not allowed. Okay, so by definition, that need not be mentioned explicitly, by definition my n is greater than r. Okay, so if I take kn, okay, among n vertex different graphs that are possible with n vertices, this is going to have the maximum number of edges. Okay, but this is going to have k r plus 1 as a subgraph. Alright, so this is a problem. So for this reason we are not considering here. Our condition says that this cannot be a subgraph. So if this cannot be a subgraph, okay, then this graph is going to have the maximum number of edges. Okay. Now let us talk a bit more about this. So we have discussed that if we have a r-parted graph, okay, so I have this r-parted graph. This is one set number 1, this is some set number I, this is some set number j, and this is set number r. Okay, this does not contain k r plus 1 as a subgraph. Okay, now I am going to make an argument. I am going to make this argument that Turan's graph will have the maximum number of edges among all the different r-parted graph. Okay, so in Turan's graph, what is going to happen? In Turan's graph, all of these are going to be equal, or the difference is going to be at max 1. Okay, let us consider a r-parted graph where the difference is more than 1. Okay, so say this is I and this is j, and the difference between I and j is more than 1. Okay, I is greater than j, and difference is more than 1. Okay, I minus j is greater than 1. So this is not a Turan's graph. Okay, now what is going to happen? Even if I have this as complete, okay, of course Turan's graph is also complete. Let us take this to be complete. Okay, in that case this is going to have the highest number of edges. If this is not complete, then the number of edges is going to be lower. Okay, let me take some vertex here, P. So I is greater than j, right? And the difference between them is greater than 1. So I am going to take some vertex from I and move it to j. Okay. Cardinality and set I, cardinality and set j, this is cardinality. So what I am going to do, I am going to take some vertex P that was in I and move it to j. Okay. So what is going to happen? My previously this set I had say I number of vertices. So what is going to happen? One of my vertices is going to decrease. Okay. And how many edges are going to decrease? I had this set j had j number of elements. So since this r-parted graph was complete, I had from this V, I had this j number of edges to all the elements in this set, right? So I had j number of edges previously. This is going to decrease. So total edges is going to decrease by j. Okay. Now all these are going to be deleted. All this from V, I had all these j number of edges to all these j number of vertices. Alright. This is going to decrease. When I remove V, I am going to add V to here. Okay. So what is going to happen now? Since I am going to make it complete, I am going to add all these edges. how many edges I am going to add? I am going to add I minus 1 edges. Okay, there were I number of vertices before, I have removed one vertex, so I minus 1 number of vertices remain. Okay, so these many edges are going to be added. I am going to remove j number of edges and I am going to add I number of edges. Okay, so yeah, this is one thing. Apart from this, we previously it had all these edges to all these other sets, right? All the vertices in all these other sets, those are not going to change. Those are going to stay the same. Okay, only these are going to change. All these V that had previously all these edges to all these vertices in J, okay, those are going to be removed, and after moving to J, I am going to add all these edges to all these elements in I. Okay, fine. Okay, now what do I know about this? This is now my current number of edges, right? Previously I had number of edges equal to this. I removed j number of edges when I moved, and after moving I added this many number of edges. So this is equal to number of edges originally minus j minus I. Okay, minus 1. Or let me change this thing. This is going to be plus I minus j minus 1. Okay, this 2 is greater than 1. So this is equal to edges. This is greater than 1. And if I subtract 1 from here, okay, so anyway, this is going to be, this quantity is going to be greater than number of edges. Okay, why? Because this part is going to be greater, equal to or greater than 1. Okay, this was greater than 1. Even if this was 2, okay, the minimum value that is possible, greater than 1. Even if this was 2, this is 2 minus 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So it will be edges plus 1. So edges plus 1 is definitely greater than edges. Okay. Similarly, if this is 3, then it is edges plus 2, that is greater than edges. So any value I minus j we had taken to be greater than 1. Okay. So then we got what? That we can shift these vertices, and then what will happen? We can increase the number of edges. Okay. So we can keep on shifting these vertices from the larger set to the smaller set. Okay. We can keep on doing this, and we can keep on increasing the number of edges. So ultimately, when are we going to stop this? We are going to stop when we have equal number of elements. Okay. Even if the elements is not equal, then the size differ by 2. Okay, so if say one has size differ by 1. So if say one set has I number of elements and the other set has I plus 1 number of elements, if one number of vertices, if I shift one vertex from this I plus 1, this is now going to be I plus 1 number of vertices, this is going to be I vertices. So what is happening? The number of edges will stay the same. So the point here is this: if the difference is more than 1, okay, in this R-parted graph, then we can make these changes. We can shift from the larger set to the smaller set, and then we can increase the number of edges. Okay, we can keep on doing this until and unless we have equal number of elements in all the sets, or the number of elements in the two sets, two differences differ by at most 1. Okay. So that is going to give us the maximum number of edges, and that graph is what? That graph is the Torrance graph. Okay, so Torrance graph is what? Is k r plus 1 free, and it is it has the highest number of elements in R-parted graph. So that is a good enough discussion for us to understand that Turan's theorem makes sense. Okay, among all these different graph with n vertices, we have these many different graphs are possible with n vertices. All right, I believe we have what 2 to the power n plus 1 into n by 2 is the number of different graphs possible with n vertices. Okay, so if we have all these many different graphs, out of this Turan graph is going to have the maximum number of edges under this condition that this k r plus 1 is not a subgraph. So if we remove this k r plus 1 is not a subgraph, we are going to have kn is going to have the maximum number of edges. So we have this condition. Under this condition, Turan's graph has the maximum number of edges. So this is given to us by Turan's theorem. All right. So application of Turan's theorem is Mentel's theorem. All right. Okay, one thing that I did not tell you, I should have told you, Turan's theorem. What is the number of this thing, edges that are going to be there in a Turan's graph? Okay, the number of edges is this, r by 1 by r n square by 2. Okay, so this is the number of edges that is going to be there in the Turan's graph. Okay. Now we are ready to look at Mentel's theorem. Okay, the number of edges in an n vertex triangle free graph is the floor of n square by 4. Okay, before that I want to tell you one thing. Try to figure out why this is true. Okay, this is relatively simple. Okay, an exercise is in combinatorics. Divide n number of vertices into, this can be floor or ceiling of n by r. Okay, so what is the number of edges that are possible? So for each vertex, how many are possible? Okay, try to figure this out. So this comes from simple algebra. Okay, and I am going to put this in your assignment anyway. So from this we have Mentel's theorem. The number of edges in an n vertex triangle free graph is this. What is a triangle free graph? Triangle means K3. Okay, so the number of edges in a n vertex triangle, okay, triangle free graph is r square by 4. So what am I trying to find? I am trying to find K3 free graph. Okay, maximum number of edges in a K3 free graph. So K3 free means what? K 2 plus 1 free. Okay, so what do I have here? I have R equal to 2. In my Turan's theorem, if I put R equal to 2, okay, so that is going to give me the maximum number of edges that are going to be there. So Turan's theorem tells me this is the maximum number of edges. Okay, let me put R equal to 2 in here. So that is going to become 2 minus 1 by 2 into n square by 2. So this becomes 1. I have n square by 4, and it is going to be the floor of this number. Okay, since I cannot have something point something edges, okay, so this is what I am going to have. Okay, this is given to me by Mantel's theorem. So Mantel's theorem tells me what? It tells me that if there are n number of vertices and I want a triangle free graph, then the number of edges that I am going to have, maximum number of edges, that is going to be equal to this. If I have more than this number of edges, then a K3 is going to be a subgraph of my graph. Okay. So yeah, we have seen Turan's theorem, and then we have seen a corollary of Turan's theorem called Mantel's theorem. Okay. So this is what we have till now. Next, let us talk about something called a clique. Okay. In social science, in social studies, okay, a clique is a group of people, a group of friends, people who are friends with one another. Okay, so all of them are friends with one another, right? So such a group is called a clique. Let me draw a graph. Okay, so I can see this part is K4. Okay, if I take this, it's K4. So this is a clique. So what is a clique? Clique is a subgraph of a graph that is complete. Okay, so this is a complete graph, and this is K4. So K4 is a clique of this graph, in this graph. Alright, so I have 4 vertex clique. Okay. Is there any other complete graph? I have, this is a K3, this is a K3, this is a K3, this is a K3. I have 3 vertex clique. Okay. Is there any other complete graph smaller than K4? If I take each of the edges, okay, it will be a 2 vertex clique, K2. K2 is essentially a line. Okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 2 vertex clique. Okay. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 1 vertex clique. 1 vertex clique is essentially just a vertex. So I have 4 in here, 5, 6, 7. 7 vertices. So I have 7 1 vertex clique. So this is a clique. A clique is what? A clique is a subgraph of the graph that is complete. So makes sense with the social science definition. This part here, if I take all these vertices to be friends, to be people, okay, and this edges represent friends. Okay, so this person is friend with this person, so there is a edge in here. This person is not a friend with this person, so there is no edge between them. Okay, so all these are friends with one another, right? So there is a vertex from each of them to all the others. So this is a clique. Okay, so a clique in social science means a group of people who are friends with one another. So here a clique means a subgraph which is complete. So all this subgraph has all these vertices. These vertices say these are people. Okay, so all they are friends with one another, provided these edges represent friendship. Okay, so this is called a clique. A clique is a subgraph that is complete. Okay. Any party with at least 6 people will contain a group of 3 mutual friends or 3 mutual non-friends. Okay. In some places, this example is formulated like this: a mafia gathering, okay, in which either 2 people are allies or 2 people are enemies. So we have to show that if 6 mafia leaders they gather together, then at least we will have a group of 3 friends or a group of 3 enemies. Okay, so 3 mutual friends means these 3 people are friends with one another. 3 mutual non-friend means these 3 people, group of 3 people who are not friends with one another. Okay, so this is a statement that there is a party with at least 6 people. Okay, and what is the claim? That in this party we will have either a group of 3 people who are friends with one another, okay, or a group of 3 people who are not friends with one another. So let us go ahead and try to see if this is true. Okay, so there are I am going to pick any vertex v. I am going to represent this as a graph. Okay, so there are going to be 6 vertices in the graph. I am going to have an edge between people if they are friends. So say this is friend with this person, and this person. Then I am going to have edges from here to this and this. Okay, so I am going to have a graph. I am going to pick a vertex v. There are 3 cases possible. V is going to have degree greater than or equal to 3, or V is going to have degree less than 3. I am going to call this case 1 and I am going to call this case 2. Okay, so I am going to do a proof by cases of this. So you understand what is the graph representation. The graph will have 6 vertices because there are at least 6 people. Apart from these 6, there may be other people. We will not consider them. Okay, we will take only 6 people. Okay, 6 people is sufficient to prove that there exists 3 mutual friends or 3 mutual non-friends. Okay, you understand the graph representation. This graph will have 6 vertices and it is going to have edges. What are the edges going to represent? Between these 2 vertices representing 2 people, I am going to have an edge if these 2 people are friends. If these 2 people are not friends, then I am not going to have any edge between these 2 vertices. Okay, so with that I am going to have 2 different cases. Either the number of vertices is going to be greater than or equal to 3, or the number of vertices is going to be less than 3. Okay, so case 1, I am going to take this vertex V and say 3 degree is 3, right? Okay, so let me call it XYZ. Okay, now also two cases are possible. This XYZ, at least two of them are friends, or none of them are friends. Okay, this is case 2.1, sorry, this is case 1.1, this is case 1.2. Okay, so what is it saying? That V has 3 friends. Okay, so degree of V is greater than or equal to 3, so V has at least 3 friends. Let me call it XYZ. I am picking 3. Okay, so there are two cases possible. Two of them, at least two of them are friends, or none of them are friends. Okay, yes, one cannot be friend with himself. Okay, so if somebody is friend with something, so there will be at least two. So if there are two, this case 1.1, okay, if two of them are friends, then what does this mean? This means that there is going to be an edge between them. Okay, so what do we have here? We have K3. Okay, so I have V, X and Y, they are friends with one another. Okay, so I have found a group of 3 friends. Okay, so case 1.1, I have found a group of 3 friends. Now case 1.2 is what? That XYZ, they are not friends with one another. So there is no H over here, there is no H over here, there is no H over here. So what is that? This X, Y and Z, they are not friends with one another. Okay, so what does this mean? I have found 3 people who are not friends with one another. Okay, so in case 2.1, I have found 3 people who are friends with one another. In case 1.2, I have found 3 people who are not friends with one another. Fine? Fine. Okay, so with case 1, I have completed. Okay, so if I have picked one vertex V, if my vertex V has degree greater than or equal to 3, then I have seen that I can either find 3 mutual friends, a group of 3 people who are friends with one another, or a group of 3 people who are not friends with one another. Okay, so with case 1 I have completed. Now let us talk about case 2. In case 2, what do I have? I have 6 vertices in my graph, right? There are at least 6 people. So if my degree of V, say this is V, is less than 3, say 2, okay, then what do I have? I have 3 vertices, say X, Y and Z, that are not connected to V. Okay, at least 3. If since degree of V is less than 3, it could have been 1 also. Okay, still I have this 3. Okay, so it means let us take say this is 2. If degree of V is less than 1, even better. Okay, but let us say sorry, if degree of V is less than 2 is even better, but let us say it is 2. Okay, so V has these 2 friends, and V is not friend with this 3 XYZ. Now also there are 2 cases possible. Okay, so this XYZ, so among this XYZ, okay, so one case is this, all 3 of them are friends. Okay, all XYZ are friends. If this is true, then what happens? This is a case 2.1, this is case 2.2. okay, so if all of them are friends, then I have found a group of 3 friends. Okay, if all of them are not friends, that means if case 2.1 is not true, then what does that mean? That means at least 2 of them are not friends with one another, right? So let us say x and y are not friends with one another. Now what do I have? I know v is not friends with x and y, and x is not friend with y and v, and y is not friend with x and v. So I have found this v, x and y that are not friends with one another. Okay, so if my degree of v is less than 3, then also two things are possible. Okay, either these three people, they are all friends with one another, so I have found 3 mutual friends. If they are not friends with one another, then I have found this and this 3 mutual non-friends. Okay, so what did I do? I have shown using 4 different cases. I have shown using 2 cases, and then both of these 2 cases I have further broken down into 2 different cases. So in total I have 4 different cases. Using this proof by cases, I have shown that in any party with at least 6 people, there will be a group of 3 mutual friend or 3 mutual non-friend. Okay, so let us use graph theory words now. 3 mutual friends means what? Say n mutual friend. Okay, let me guess on this. In this graph that I represent, if I say n mutual friends, what does this mean? All of them are friends with one another, so all of them will have edges connecting to one another, right? So out of this subgraph with lots of people, okay, I have this n mutual friends, right? So I will have n complete graph. I will have a n vertex clique. Okay. So a clique means what? A clique is a complete graph. Okay. So all the vertices in a clique are connected to one another. So n mutual friend means what? N mutual friends in the bigger graph, there will be n vertices which are connected to one another. All of these are connected to one another. So in a sense, all of this is complete. So n mutual friends means a n vertex clique. M mutual non-friends means what? All these m vertices, m people, okay, this m vertices representing m people, they will not have edges connecting to one another. So they will not be adjacent to one another. Alright, so this will be m element independent set. So I already discussed what is the definition of independent set in the video on vertex coloring. Okay, so in this this set will contain vertices which are not adjacent to one another. For example, this set of non-friends. Okay, so lots of people, this m people, they are not friend with one another. So in our graph representation, we will not have edges connecting all these different people, since they are mutually among themselves, they are not friends with one another. So all these m different vertices will not be adjacent to one another. So all these m different vertices will form a set, and that is going to be an independent set. In an independent set, we will have vertices that are not adjacent to one another, that are not connected to one another. Okay, so what did we see? We see that in a graph with 6 vertices, we will have either a 3 vertex clique or a 3 vertex independent set. Okay, so instead of m element, I can call m vertex independent set. So this is what we just did. Now we are ready to talk about Ramsey's number. Ramses number is denoted by RMN. Okay. Hold on. Is the minimum number or let me call it S and T. Okay. Is the minimum number. So if someone gives you this Ramses number representation like this, most probably will be, if I give you Ramses number representation like this, I will be explaining what this S and what this T actually means. Okay, so is the minimum number such that any graph n, okay, minimum number n such that any graph with n vertices will contain a S element X vertex independent set or T vertex clique. Okay. So Ramses number, it is denoted by denoted like this. It is the minimum number, we are calling it n, such that any graph with this number of vertices, this Ramsey number of vertices, is guaranteed to have this. Either a S vertex independent set will be there or a T vertex clique will be there. Okay, so we have seen R33. So what do we want? We want 3 vertex independent set. So 3 non-friends, a group of 3 non-friends, or we want a 3 vertex clique, a group of 3 friends, mutual friends, okay, or mutual non-friends. So Ramsey number of 3 we have seen is 6. So with a graph of 6, minimum 6, you cannot have this with 5 vertices. Okay, so we have seen Ramsey's number of with 3 is 6. So 3 independent set or 3 distinct clique, okay, is equal to 6. That is what we have seen. Now Ramsey number with 1 m, or Ramsey number of m 1. So Ramsey's number with 1 one vertex independent set, okay, and m clique, or Ramsey number with m independent set and 1 clique, this is going to be 1. Okay, so if I have a graph with 1 vertex, that 1 vertex is itself going to be an independent set, okay, or the 1 vertex is itself going to be a clique. So I am going to get a 1 vertex independent set or a 1 vertex clique with only 1 vertex. Okay, so Ramsey number with 1 anything or anything 1 is going to be equal to 1. What about Ramsey's number with 2m? Okay, what am I looking here? Let us try to figure this out. This is my number of independent set. This is my number of clique. Okay. let us talk about what is going to happen. Okay, if I take a graph with m number of vertices, okay, it is either going to be km or it is going to be not km. Okay, so if it is going to be km, what do I have? I have m vertex click. If it is not km, what is going to happen? If it is not km, that means there is at least two vertices which are not connected to one another. Okay, if all the vertices are connected to one another, it is going to be km. Okay, with m vertices, it is going to be km. Complete graph with m vertices. If it is not km, complete graph with m vertices, this means that there are at least two vertices which are not connected to one another. So these two vertices are not going to be friends with one another. So these two vertices are going to make a two vertex independent set. It can be larger, but then I am asking for the minimum value. Okay, Ramsey talks about the minimum value. So what do I have? I have, with m number of vertices, I want two vertex, either a m size click or a two sized independent set. Okay, so this is equal to this and this is equal to 2. Alright, fine. So this is what I have. So yeah, till now we have seen Turan's theorem. Okay, Turan's theorem gave us what? It gave us the maximum number of edges such that some kr plus 1 is not there in the graph. Okay, so that we talked about some sense in a maximum. Okay, some maximum value of the number of edges. Then Ramsey gave us what? The maximum number of vertices such that these properties, some independent set, some size independent set or some size click, they exist. So this maximum, minimum, this kind of things we have been talking about in this video. So this is extremal graph theory. We are talking about these extreme values, maximum, minimum. Now coming back to Ramsey's number, like Turan's theorem gave us some equation, right? R minus 1 by R, then n square minus n, something like that, I believe. Let me check it out. Yes, R minus 1 by R, n square by 2. Okay, so that was a formula that was given to us. Now there is no such formula to find n in Ramsey's number. Okay, so this is a problem that we have. But then we have this. Okay. So this gives us a lower bound on what the Ramsey's number is going to be. Okay, Ramsey's number, it is very difficult to figure out even for small graph. Okay, we have to do that computationally. There is no formula that will give us Ramsey's number. But then this is a lower bound on the number that we have. This is going to tell us what is the minimum that Ramsey's number will be. Okay, so Ramsey's number will not be bigger than this value. So this is what I have. So this ends our video on extremal graph theory. There is one more topic, Shimaredis regularity lemma. that one will be covered by your this assignment. So this ends our course. I hope you understood everything in this video and everything else in all the other videos. So if you did not understand, then reach out to me. Okay, you have a few days left for your exam. Watch this video again if you have doubt, and then reach out to me. I will be very happy if you have doubts, and we can have live session if you want, where we can clear our doubts. So study well, prepare for your exam, turn the assignment on time. Okay, best of luck, and hopefully see you in the next semester. Okay, and be safe, wash your hands, maintain social distancing. All right, see you.